So, welcome to a lecture series on nonlinear programming. In the previous lectures, we have seen that what convex functions are and what are their properties. Now, we will see some convex programming problems, what they are and how they are important, that we will see in this lecture. So, first, what are convex programming problem? Now, consider this general problem, general mathematical programming problem, that is minimizing a function f x subject to g I x less than or equal to 0. I from 1 to m, that means we are having m number of constraints. So, this problem is called convex programming problem if the function f, which is the objective function, and g I for all I from 1 to m are convex functions. So, a problem which is of minimizing type and all constraints less than or equal to is called convex programming problem if the objective function f and all the constraints g I are convex. So, we call such problems are convex programming problems. Now, if g I for each I from 1 to m be a convex function, then this set is always a convex set. Now, let us see that what this set is. This set S is nothing but all x belongs to R n such that g I x is less than or equals to 0, I from 1 to m, where g I, all g i's are convex functions, all g i's are convex functions for all I. Then if all g i's are convex function, then this set consisting of all x belongs to R n such that g I x less than or equals to 0 for all I, then this set is a convex set. Proof is very easy, we can simply prove it. So, in order to prove that it is a convex set, let two arbitrary points x1 x2 is in S, and what we have to show? We have to prove that the convex linear combination of these two arbitrary point is also in S. Then we can say that this set is a convex set. So, these two in S, this means g I of x1 will be less than or equals to 0 for all I, and g I of x2 is also less than or equals to 0 for all I. Now, take convex linear combination of these 2 points. So, this is a convex linear combination lambda between 0 and 1. Okay. Now, to show that this set S is a convex set, we have to prove that this x is in S. So, how we can show this? You take g I of x, what it is? It is nothing but g I of lambda x1 plus 1 minus lambda x2, and since g i's are convex functions for every I, so this means that this is less than or equals to lambda of g I x1 plus 1 minus lambda of g I x2, since g i's are convex for all I. Okay, are convex functions. Now, g I of x1 is less than or equal to 0 for all I, and g I of x2 is also less than or equal to 0 for all I. So, this is less than or equals to lambda into 0 plus 1 minus lambda into 0, which is equals to 0. So, this implies that g I of x is less than or equals to 0 for all I, and this implies x belongs to S. So, hence S is a convex set. Okay. So, what I want to say that if you take all the constraints less than or equal to type and all constraints are convex function, then the collection of all those x which satisfy all the constraint of g I x less than or equal to 0 types is always a convex set. Okay. Now, let us discuss few examples of convex programming problems. First example is minimizing x1 plus x2 subject to the first constraint is x1 square plus x2 square less than or equals to 1, and the second constraint is x1 square less than or equal to x2. Now, this constraint can be rewritten as g1x which is equals to x1 square plus x2 square minus 1 less than or equal to 0, and it is can be written as the second constraint g2x which is equals to x1 square minus x2 which is less than or equal to 0. Okay. And of course, the objective function is minimizing f is equals to x1 plus x2. Okay. Now, we already know that all linear functions are convex. So, this function x1 plus x2 is obviously convex. Okay. It is a linear function, and linear functions are always convex as well as concave. So, this function is convex. Now, if we talk about the first constraint, to show that whether it is convex or not, you take Hessian matrix of G1. Hessian matrix of G1. What will be Hessian matrix of G1? It will be nothing but del square G1 upon del x1 square, del square G1 of del x1 del x2, del square G1 of del x2 del x1, del square G1 of del x2 square. And this is nothing but, if you take second derivative of G1 respect to x1, it is 2. There is no term involving x1 and x2 in this constraint. So, this is 0, this is 0, this is 2, again 2. So, this will be a Hessian matrix with respect to G1. Now, to see whether it is convex function or not, we take leading principal minors. Okay, we use that test. So, what is D1? D1 is 2, which is greater than 0. Of course, D1 is 2 greater than 0, and D2 is nothing but it is determinant of 2 0 0 2, which is nothing but 4, again greater than 0. Since D1 and D2 both are greater than 0, this means Hessian matrix is positive definite, and this means function is convex. Okay. So, this means this implies G1 is convex function. Or you can use eigenvalue test. You see, eigenvalues of this matrix are nothing but 2 and 2. Both eigenvalues are strictly greater than 0. So, this means function is strictly convex and hence convex. Okay. Now, similarly, you take second constraint, Hessian matrix second constraint is nothing but it is 2 0 0 0 using the same structure. We can find the Hessian matrix of G2, and now the eigenvalues of this is nothing but eigenvalue is nothing but 2 and 0. We can simply see because a diagonal matrix, and eigenvalues are greater than or equal to 0. So, this means this matrix is positive semi definite, and hence the function G2 is convex function. Okay. So, this means this is positive semi definite, and this implies G2 is convex function. So, hence we have seen that for this problem, for particular example E1, the function f which is the objective function is convex, constraint G1 is convex, constraint G2 is convex. Hence, it is the convex programming problem, because the involved objective function and all the constraints are convex. Hence, this is a convex programming problem. In the second example, objective function is of maximizing type, but it is linear. You see, what will be this objective function? Maximizing 4x1 plus 3x2 subject to what are the constraint? It is x1 plus x2 less than or equals to 4. It is x1 x2 less than or equals to 1, x1 greater than or equal to 0, and x2 greater than or equal to 0. Now, this objective function can be recast as minimum of some f dash, which is nothing but minus 4x1 minus 3x2. Okay. This is same as you can maximizing, you can write as minimizing of negative of this function. Okay. And subject to what are the conditions? Condition will be, this will be nothing but G1, which is nothing but x1 plus x2 minus 4 less than or equal to 0. The second constraint will be G2 equals to x1 x2 minus 1 less than or equals to 0. third constraint will be nothing but minus x1 which is less than or equal to 0, and G4 will be nothing but minus x2 which is less than or equal to 0. Because for convex programming problem, the format of the problem should be of minimizing type and all constraint must be less than or equal to 0. Okay. Now, this is minimizing function and this is linear, hence convex, because all linear functions are convex. The first constraint is linear, it is convex obviously. The third constraint linear, convex. Fourth constraint linear and hence convex. Now, we have to check only for the G2 constraint whether it is convex or not. If it is convex, then it will be a convex programming problem, otherwise it will not be a convex programming problem. Now, to check whether G2 is convex or not, find out Hessian matrix of G2. What will be the Hessian matrix of G2? The Hessian matrix of G2 will be, it is del square G2 of del x1 square, del square G2 of del x1 del x2. It involves only two variable, hence only 2 cross 2 matrix will be there. So, this will be Hessian matrix is nothing but it is 0, 1, it is 1 and it is 0. So, this will be Hessian matrix with respect to G2. Now, if you find eigenvalues of this matrix, so how to find eigenvalues of this matrix? Suppose it is H. So, H minus lambda I determinant should be 0 and this implies determinant of minus lambda 1 1 minus lambda should be 0. This implies lambda square minus 1 equal to 0, so lambda equal to plus minus 1. So, for some lambdas are positive and some lambdas are negative, one lambda is positive, one lambda is negative. That means the function is not convex, because for convexity all lambdas must be greater than or equal to 0. That means function is not convex, hence this constraint is not convex. Therefore, this problem is not convex programming problem. Because if it is a convex programming problem, then objective function as well as all constraint must be convex. Okay. You can see it graphically also. See, what is the first constraint? First constraint is x1 plus x2 less than or equal to 4. This is 4, this is 4. So, this is the first constraint, x1 plus x2 equal to 4, and less than or equal to 4 means shades towards origin, because if you take 0 comma 0, so 0 plus 0 less than or equal to 4, it true, it holds. So, we shade towards origin. Okay. Now, if you take the second constraint x1 x2 less than or equal to 1, it is a rectangular hyperbola. Okay. x1 x2 less than or equals to 1, that means this type of hyperbola we should having, we might be having. And now to take 0 0, 0 0 is 0 which is less than or equal to 1, that is true, that is shades towards origin, shade towards origin again. And x1 x2 both are non-negative, that means the first quadrant, we are taking only the first portion of the rectangular hyperbola, because we need only that portion which is in the first quadrant. Okay. So, that means this is the region which is below this line and below this hyperbola. So, this is the region, and we can easily see that this region is not a convex set, and from the previous theorem it must be a convex set. If all GIs are convex function, then this set must be a convex set. However, this is not a convex set. So, we can easily say that since the region is not a convex set, so it is not a convex programming problem. Okay. Now, we have a different formats of convex programming problem. Let us see. The first format we have already discussed, that is a minimizing type function subject to all constraint less than or equal to type. This will be a convex programming problem if function f and all GIs are convex. The second type, if the objective function is a maximizing type and all constraints are less than or equal to type, then it will be a convex programming problem if function is concave and all constraints are convex. The third form is if function is of minimizing type, objective function, and all constraints are greater than or equal to type, then it will be a convex programming problem if function is convex and all constraints are concave. Okay. And if we have a maximizing type objective function and all constraints are greater than or equal to type, then it will be a convex programming problem if f and all gi's are concave. So, these are the 4 different formats of a convex programming problem. So, by which we can see whether the problem is convex or not. These are the conditions. Now, to study the optimality conditions of a optimization problem, we first start with unconstrained optimization problem. Now, what is an unconstrained optimization problem? Let us discuss. Minimizing of fx and subject to x belongs to Rn or R. Okay. We are first taking function from R to R. If we are optimizing means maximizing or minimize a function without any constraint, then we say such problems as unconstrained optimization problems. Now, to study the optimality condition for such type of problems, we start with a function from R to R. Okay. We already know that if we have to minimize a function from R to R, how we can minimize this function? We first have a necessary condition. Necessary condition is if x bar belongs to R is a local minimum or local maximum point of f over R, then always f dash of x bar will be 0. We are assuming function is differentiable, twice differentiable. We are assuming a function is twice differentiable. So, if x bar is a point of local maximum or local minimum, then at that point first derivative is always 0. Okay. What is a sufficient condition to see whether that point is a point of local maximum or local minimum? We find second derivative at that point at x bar. If second derivative at that point is positive, then that point is a point of local minimum, and if second derivative at that point is less than 0, we call that point as local maximum point. This we already know. Okay. Now, we come to function from R2 to R. Suppose we are taking function f from R2 to R and function x belongs to R2. So, how to optimize, how to find maximum minimum values of such functions? We first have a necessary condition. What is that? If x bar y bar belongs to R2 is a point of local minimum or local maximum of f over R2, then del f upon del x at x bar y bar and del f upon del y at x bar y bar is always 0. The first condition is the necessary condition. What is the necessary condition? Necessary condition for two variable functions. Okay. That is simply that del f upon del x at x bar y bar is equals to del f upon del y at x by y bar must be 0. So, this is the first condition, a necessary condition. Now, if this condition hold, whether that point is a point of local minimum or local maximum or saddle point, how can we say? So, we find Hessian matrix of f at x bar y bar. These are sufficient conditions. You see, if x bar y bar belongs to R2 satisfy this condition, that is partial derivative of f respect to x and partial derivative of f respect to y, both are 0 at x bar y bar, and Hessian matrix of f at x bar y bar is positive definite, then x bar y bar is a point of local minimum, and if it is negative definite, then it will be a point of local maximum of f over R2. Okay. You see, if it is positive definite, what does it mean? It means function is strictly convex. Function is convex, that means we have a parabolic shape like this. Okay. So, certainly we have a point of minima, and if we have if it is negative definite, that means function is strictly concave. If function is concave, that means we have this type of parabola, and that means that point we are point of local maxima that we can easily visualize. Okay. Now, the same conditions we can generalize for a function from Rn to R. Okay. If a function from Rn to R, say Rn to R. So, how can we say, how can you find the necessary and sufficient condition for a point to be local maxima or local minima? For that, we first find the necessary condition will be gradient of f at x bar must be 0. Gradient of x bar means this implies del f upon del x j or I at x bar must be 0 for all j. We are having n number of variables, okay. And what is the sufficient condition? If x bar belongs to Rn with gradient of f x bar equal to 0, if f is a strictly convex function in the neighborhood of x bar, then x bar is a point of local minima, and if it is local minima of f over x bar. Strictly convex means Hessian matrix is positive definite, okay. And if Hessian matrix is negative definite, then x bar will be a point of local maxima. The same result which we did for a 2 variable problem, the same result we can generalize for n variable problem also, okay. Now, suppose this problem you are having, you want to find out the local maxima or local minima for this problem, this simple 2 variable problem we are having. So, what is f? F here is nothing but 2 plus 2 x 1 plus 3 x 2 minus x 1 square minus x 2 square, okay. We are interested to find out its point of local maxima or local minima for this problem. So, first we find del f by del x 1, put it equal to 0, and del f by del x 2 and put it equal to 0. This will give us stationary point. This condition will give us a stationary point, okay. So, what is del f by del x 1? It is 2 plus 2 minus 2 x 1 equal to 0, and from here it is 3 minus 2 x 2 equal to 0. So, this implies x 1 equals to 1 and this implies x 2 equals to 3 by 2. So, what is the point? Point is 1 comma 3 by 2. So, 1 comma 3 by 2 is the only stationary point for this particular problem. Now, we have to see that whether this point is a point of local maxima or local minima or neither or a saddle point, that we have to see. So, for that we find Hessian matrix of f at this point, okay. Here what is Hessian matrix of f? Hessian matrix f will be nothing but it is minus 2, it is 0, 0 and again minus 2. You find determinants of leading principal minors, d1 is minus 2 which is negative, you can easily see determinant of 1 cross 1 it is negative, and what is d2? d2 is determinant of 2 cross 2 which is minus 2, 0, 0, minus 2 which is again 4 which is greater than 0. So, first one is negative, second one is positive, that means it is alternating in sign, that means this is negative definite function, this Hessian matrix is negative definite. Hessian matrix is negative definite means function is strictly concave, and that means strictly concave means we have a upper hyperbola like this, and that means that point will be a point of local maxima. So, that means the point 1 comma 3 by 2 will be a point of local maxima. So, that is how we can easily check whether a point is a point of, whether a point which is obtained by this stationary condition is a point of local maxima, local minima or neither, okay. Now, let us discuss constraint optimization problem, first with equality constraints and then we will see with inequality constraints, okay. Now, what do you mean by constraint optimization problem? Constraint optimization problem means optimizing, that is maximizing or minimizing a function subject to some conditions, some constraints, okay. So, minimizing or maximizing of fx subject to gix equal to 0, because we are taking only equality constraints here I from 1 to m. This is the problem which we are discussing now, and how to find out optimal solutions of such problems. Optimal solution means the problem will satisfy all the constraints as well as minimize or maximize the objective function. So, let us see. So, how to find it, let us discuss it. So, we have the problem, suppose we have a problem minimizing of fx subject to gix equal to 0 I from 1 to m. So, this is a constraint optimization problem with equality constraints. Now, how to find out the optimal solution for such problems? We first defined a function L, which we are called as Lagrange function or Lagrangian. So, this Lagrangian will involve all x, all n x, I mean n component of x with lambdas, and these lambdas are called Lagrange multipliers. These lambdas are called Lagrange multipliers. We first define this function which we call as Lagrange function. So, what is this function is? This is nothing but objective function plus lambda 1 g 1 plus lambda 2 g 2 and so on, lambda m g m x equal to x, or it is f x plus summation I from 1 to m lambda I g I x. So, this is the Lagrange function. Okay. Now, what is the necessary condition? What is the necessary condition for this problem? Let x bar belongs to Rn be a point of local minimum or local maximum for the problem P2. P2 is this problem where m less than n. Okay. Let it be possible to choose set of m variables xi for which Jacobian matrix del gi upon del xj at x bar, which is of order m cross m, has an inverse. It must be m cross m, has an inverse. Okay. So, this condition is required for in order to prove this. I am not discussing the proof here, I am just discussing the conditions. Okay. Then there exists a unique set of Lagrange multipliers lambda 1 bar, lambda 2 bar and so on up to lambda n bar, such that this condition hold. So, what is necessary condition? Necessary condition is del f x bar plus summation I from 1 to m lambda I del of g I at x bar, and this is lambda bar, must be 0. So, this is the necessary condition. Now, what this condition means, what is gradient f x bar? This is del f upon del x 1, del f upon del x 2 and so on, del f upon del x n at x bar plus summation I from 1 to m lambda I bar, this is del g I upon del x 1, del g I upon del x 2, del g I upon del x m, del x n, this equal to 0. All component must be 0. Okay. If you take this, so that means del f upon del x 1 plus lambda 1 del g 1 upon del x 1 plus lambda 2 del g 2 upon del x 2 del x 1 and so on, lambda m del g m upon del x 1 should be 0. The first condition, because you take the first component and you vary I from 1 to m with the first component. So, you will get this condition equal to 0. Similarly, del f upon del x 2 plus lambda 1 g 1, it is all bar, okay, and it is all at x bar, it is all at x bar, must be 0. Similarly, you will get the same condition for x 2, same condition for x n. So, what does it mean? This means del f upon del x I plus summation I from del xj summation I from 1 to m lambda I del gi upon del xj should be 0 and j varying from 1 to m. Okay. Because the same will hold for I j equal to 1, that is the first condition. The same will hold when you put j equal to 2, that is the second condition from here. Okay. And similarly, the same will hold for j equal to n. Okay. Or the same conditions can be obtained. The same conditions can be obtained from the Lagrange function itself. You simply take del L upon del x I equal to 0 for all I from 1 to n, and del L upon del lambda j equal to 0 for all j. So, from these two also we get back to this that condition 1. Okay. So, this is a necessary condition if the point is a point of local minima, okay, then this condition 2 must hold. Okay. Now, what is a sufficient condition? Let x bar lambda bar which belongs to Rn cross Rm exists such that the condition 2 above holds. This condition hold. Suppose Zx star consists of all z belongs to Rn such that Z transpose gradient of Gx bar is equal to 0 and Z transpose of Hessian matrix of L with Z greater than 0 for all Z belongs to Zx star with Z not equal to 0, then x star is a point of local minimum of the problem P2. P2 is this problem. Okay. So, let us discuss this condition with an example. Okay. The example will clear all these things. So, let us discuss this by an example. Suppose we have the first problem, minimizing f equal to x cube by 3 minus 3y square by 2 plus 2x x subject to x minus y equal to 0. So, one way out is very easy, you substitute x equal to y in this problem. It will become a one variable unconstrained optimization problem, and you can find out first derivative with respect to x, put it equal to 0, and then use second derivative to see whether that point is a point of local maxima or local minima. Okay. You simply see, you substitute x equal to y here and x equal to y here. So, it will be a one variable unconstrained optimization problem. Okay. You find first derivative, put it equal to 0, that will be the stationary point, and to check where that point is the point of local maxima or local minima, find second derivative at that point. If it is greater than 0 means local minima, if it is less than 0 means local maxima. Now, if you have to solve the same problem using Lagrange function, how we can do that? So, this is simply an illustration. So, we consider a Lagrange function L which is f plus lambda g, because only one constant is involved. So, it is lambda into g. G is this constant, this is g equals to x minus y equal to 0. So, this is nothing but x cube by 3 minus 3y square by 2 plus 2x plus lambda times x minus y. Now, we find del L by del x, put it equal to 0, and del L by del y, put it equal to 0, and del L by del lambda, put it equal to 0. By the necessary conditions. What are necessary conditions? We already discussed. The necessary condition is del L by del x should be 0 for all j, and del L by del lambda I should be 0 for all I. which is the same condition which is in 2. Okay. So, what is del L by del x? First we solve this problem, this condition, it is 3 x square by 3 plus 2 plus lambda equal to 0. What is this condition? This condition is minus 6 y upon 2 minus lambda should be equal to 0. What is this condition? This condition is x minus y equal to 0. Okay. So, what we obtain from here, 3 3 cancel out, here 2 and 3 times cancel out. So, this is nothing but lambda will be equals to minus 2 minus x square from here. From here lambda must be equals to minus 3y, and from here x is equal to y. Okay. So, you substitute x equal to y and lambda equal to lambda. So, what we obtain? We obtain minus 2 minus x square is equals to minus 3x, because x is equal to y and lambda is equal to lambda. Okay. So, what we obtain, it is x square minus 3x plus 2 is equals to 0, that means x are 1 and 2. If x is 1 and 2 and x equal to y, that means y is also 1 and 2. So, points are 1 1 and 2 2. And when x is 1 or y is 1, lambda is minus 3. So, corresponding to this lambda is minus 3 and corresponding to this lambda is minus 6, because you substitute lambda y equal to 2. So, lambda is equals to minus 3. So, these are the stationary points. Okay. Now, to see whether which point is the point of local minima and which point is the point of local maxima, we will apply sufficient condition. So, what is sufficient condition? Let us see. First we find the set capital Z. So, what capital Z indicates? First we find for suppose 2 comma 2 or 1 comma 1, okay, 1 comma 1. First we will see for this point, this is x star for this problem. So, we will find Z at x star, this is x star. We will find all those Z belongs to R2 here, because n is 2, such that Z transpose means Z1 Z2 and gradient of G1. What is G here? X minus y equal to 0. Constraint is x minus y equal to 0. What will be its gradient? Gradient will be with respect to x 1, with respect to y minus 1 is equal to 0. So, this implies Z1 equal to Z2. Okay. All Z belongs to R2. So, what will be Zx star? It is of this type, Z1 comma Z1. It is Z1 comma Z2 and Z1 is equal to Z2. That means Z1 comma Z1 types, all the elements will be in capital Z. Okay. Now, if the first condition hold, this condition hold, we say that x star will be a point of local minima. If this condition hold, we say that this point is a point of local maxima. So, let us see, we first find Hessian matrix of L. Okay. And what is L for this problem? We again have to write the L for this problem. L will be x cube by 3 minus 3y square by 2, okay, plus 2x and plus lambda times x minus y. So, what is gradient square of L? That will be nothing but, we first differentiate with respect to x twice, that is 2x, okay. Okay. Now with respect to xy, which is 0, and with respect to y, it is minus 6. It is first derivative with respect to y is minus 6y by 2 minus lambda, and when you differentiate with twice with respect to y, it is nothing but minus 3. Okay. So, it is minus 3. It is second partial derivative with respect to y. Okay. Now this at 1 comma 1 is nothing but 2 0 0 minus 3. Okay. Now you take Z1 transpose of this Z1 transpose Hessian matrix of L with Z. So it is nothing but let us try to find this answer, this value Z transpose gradient square of L into Z. Now for this x star 1 comma 1 Z star is Z1 Z1, okay, Z1 Z1 types, and Hessian matrix is 2 0 0 minus 3, again it is Z1 Z1. So it is nothing but 2 Z1 square minus 3 Z1 square, which is minus Z1 square, which is less than 0 for all Z1 and Z1 not equal to 0. Okay. So this quantity is less than 0, this quantity is less than 0, this means this point is a point of local maxima. So that means 1 comma 1 is a point of local maxima. So that is how we can check whether a point by a Lagrange function, whether a point is a point of local maxima or local minima. Similarly we will check for 2 comma 2 also. When you take 2 comma 2, what will be capital Z? For 2 comma 2, capital Z will be nothing but, this is 2 comma 2. So this will be same. This will remain same, and when you find Z transpose Hessian matrix of L with Z, so this is nothing but Z1 Z1. Now Hessian matrix of L at 2 comma 2 will be, it is 4 0 0 minus 3 and Z1 Z1, because both are same. So it is 4 Z1 square minus 3 Z1 square, which is Z1 square, which is positive for all Z1 and Z1 not equal to 0. So this is positive, this means the first condition hold, that means this is a point of local minima. So the point 1 comma 1 is a point of local maxima and 2 comma 2 is a point of local minima. So in this way, using Lagrange function, we can easily check whether a point, the point which we have find out, is a point of local maxima or local minima. Now similarly we can solve the second problem also using the Lagrange multiplier method. Okay. So thank you.